Welcome, everyone. Happy Friday. I am Chris Gore. This is Film Threat. I'm going to turn the music down just a little bit so you can hear what I'm saying. I hope you're doing well. I'm struggling today. I'm struggling. I don't know about you. I might have overdid it yesterday. I might have overdone it also. But I hope you're doing well. So much to talk about on today's show. We're going to be talking about Fast X. Also, Cleopatra, the Netflix series. Alan has seen it, and I started watching it. We'll be discussing it. Also, we've actually got a lot of news, and we will be doing special shows next week. Alan is seeing The Little Mermaid. I am seeing The Flash. So next week, Monday, Tuesday, we're going to be doing special episodes of the show. We'll either do one both Monday and Tuesday. We'll figure it out. Let's get things started. Alan is waiting in the wings. I can't wait to talk to him. We have so many movies to discuss. Let's get things kicked off. Let's get things started. It's Film Threat on a Friday.
How are you seeing The Flash?
I'm seeing The Flash.
How are you seeing The Flash?
Oh, I'm seeing The Flash. And I have to go in a disguise.
Oh, okay.
You think I'm joking?
No.
So I'm seeing it Monday night.
Okay.
It's maybe I shouldn't give too many details.
Maybe you're not seeing The Flash.
No, I am seeing The Flash.
No, I'm just saying publicly, maybe you're not.
Yes, I'm not seeing The Flash.
Right.
I'm seeing The Flash on Monday. You're seeing Little Mermaid this weekend. Yeah. We will do a Hollywood on the Rock show. Maybe we'll do it on Tuesday and we'll talk about both.
Yeah, I'll have to do it Tuesday.
Okay, we will do it Tuesday then. It's been decided on the live stream. We're doing a special Hollywood on the Rocks. Someone was complaining to me that they missed us being on too. They like the court show, but they like us being on just as, you know.
Well, yeah, the tone is very different. The way we interact is very different.
Right. Well, can I just say, I love when we're doing the court show, when we're doing Critics Court, Star Wars on Trial. And like, I'm like deadly serious, like in character as the judge. And you'll say something like, Your Honor, if you could tell the jury to smash the like button.
Instruct the jury, yeah.
It's so instruct the jury to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Whenever you do that, I have to like hold it together to not laugh. So you kill me because I'm playing it deadpan, right? I'm playing it total deadpan as the judge, and you're like, I don't know, I love it. It's really fun.
Yeah.
It was.
I have a slight tweak suggestion.
Oh, please. And we can talk about the show now. Like any suggestions, we will make the show better. I think this last episode was really good arguments from both sides. Yeah. Both sides had very good arguments.
Yeah, and I would say what we should do, and I think I saw this in the chat, but we should allow a cross-examination after each presentation. So like 5 minutes, someone gets to challenge what was just presented.
Oh.
And that way, you get a little bit of that, because what we're doing is you have that long segment of a presentation,
right? And
then you have another long segment of presentation. Let's throw in a little bit of a challenge in between, and just allow it for 5 minutes. Maybe one question.
That is going to be a change. On the next episode, there'll be the presentation, and then the opposite side can challenge and ask questions about the presentation, cross-examine, whatever. That's great.
Yeah, because I know Robert wanted to say something or ask a question, and he had to wait till open debate to do it.
Yeah, well, let's that's a change. We're gonna make it, and I have a lot of people that want to come on now, so it's well, look, we're figuring out this format. It will get better. The show will get better. I hope we gain more viewers from it. So
yeah,
it's
and then Imperfect says we should sort out the audio before you go live.
Well, look. This is why I bring on people there are people dying to get on the show, but they've never been on YouTube. And it's not that they've never been on YouTube that I don't think it would be good. There's so many things to getting good being on YouTube. I still think we can get a lot better. I need a better mic. I need a better setup. I've got to I'm going to take everything out of my room and reset it up when I get like a break. Probably after the trial, I'll do that. But yeah, it's there's something about like understanding what good lighting is, getting a decent camera. I've got a better camera. I don't think I have the best camera right now, but there is something to just being on YouTube. And it's not only being able to make a good case in a fake trial. So there you go.
Oh, by the way, we are on Rumble. So smash that Rumble butt. Well, I don't know what they call it.
Yeah, smash the Rumble butt. There you go. Let's see who is in the chat today. Lots of people to talk to. Before we get started, so much to talk about. Fast X, the Cleopatra show. We have 2 interviews today. 2 filmmakers are coming on. Director April Mullen from Simulant and Richard Elfman. That's right. Danny Elfman's brother, Richard, is a filmmaker. He makes indie movies. He has a film that's on the festival circuit now called Bloody Bridget. So we've got 2 directors at the end of the show that are coming on to join us. Let's see who's here in the chat. Hey, Eddie KMK has become a member, along with the Icelandic Filipino and Matuin have all become YouTube members. That means as a YouTube member, you get access to our Discord. So please look for the link in the Discord in the community.
In the community tab.
The community tab on YouTube, there's a link to our Discord. Once you join, you're in. And there's a Critics Court. You can talk about Critics Court in there as well. Matter Hatter, just a guess, but really goofy. But I think it'll be hard to top going to space. Maybe they will time travel. We'll tell you about it. Alan Horkin, happy Friday. All saw Guardians 3 again yesterday. Enjoyed it more the second time. Zavin says, hi, everyone. I predict Fast X is a solid 5 out of 10. Truly one of the movies of all time.
I have a lot to say about this.
Fast X was something else. It did have an Infinity War ending, says Solomon Thornton. Spidey Sensei 72. Eric Weber loved Fast X, so I guess Chris will despise it. I know people keep bringing up Eric Weber. Let me just say this, because there are people that are in our movie meetup group that meet up on Thursdays, and Eric Weber has said that we had a falling out. All I said was Eric was a bad friend for not seeing my movie. He still has not seen. This is a guy I've known for years who's a film critic. And I made a movie and I told him, I said, look, making a movie is not something that like, it doesn't happen like, every week, every year. I made a film. The least you could do is go see my film. And on the night of the premiere, he said he was too tired. So what I said to Eric was, I think you're a bad friend for not seeing my movie and commenting on it, even if you dislike it. So he can call it a falling out. All I did was call him out for being a bad friend. That if your friend makes a movie, the least you can do is see it. You know what Alan did? Alan saw the movie. He was there. He moderated the Q&A.
I was tired.
Yeah, Alan was tired, and he
did
went.
3 Q&As. I was tired.
3 Q&As back to back.
That last one was a.
Oh, the last one was I was trashed. I don't remember it. But yeah, so I'm just not watching his show. I'm not going to unsubscribe. But I think that if you think that through, and you think if you're friends with somebody, you call that person a friend, and they made a movie, maybe you would support that person. There are plenty of people on YouTube that I can name who saw my film and talked about it. People like Az. I've never met Az from Heel versus Babyface in person. He sent out the nicest tweet about Attack of the Doc. He talked about it on his show, and he had me on his show, The Real BBC, to discuss my film. And he was incredibly gracious. I've never physically met the man, and I know that he is a good person. So all I did is I called out. So we will no longer be talking about Eric in the chat. If you see Ms. P. Coffee, our humble mod, if you see any Eric Weber comments, they will not be read on the show.
By the way, Eric, it's 90 minutes long.
Better yet, it's 88 minutes long.
88 minutes long. It's not even 90 minutes long.
But it's sort of like beyond the point where like an apology. It's like it's too late. You had a window of the movie's opened like 3 weeks ago. It came out 3 weeks ago. You didn't come to the premiere. I think that makes you a bad friend, in my opinion. Other people are they're welcome to think about him how they feel. But I would think that if you're a friend of mine and I made a film, you would make the effort. I think it's $1.99 to rent it on Amazon. Anyways, I need more coffee. Obviously, I obviously need more. I am pre this. Look, I've had 1 sip, 2 sips, maybe. All right, here we go, folks. Back to the chat. And I'm not trying to like stir up any YouTube drama. I hate that stuff. I hate getting involved in it. I'm saying that I'm just telling you what happened. This is not in the interest of drama. And I've had Eric on my show. I helped Eric get monetized. I have helped and supported my friend. And you would think he would consider that. And make of that what you will, but you will not see me in the chat on his show anymore.
But if you want to see good YouTube drama, look up Chris Gore and John Campea.
What is that? Is that drama? Is that?
Yeah, because he didn't pay you. And
oh no, he did pay me. He did pay me.
I know he did pay you, but when people heard it,
that was very quickly resolved.
Yeah,
that was quickly
videos
resolved.
went up. That's all I'm saying.
I should have reached out to him. So I blame myself partially for that as well. Mike MC Wong, hey, good seeing you last night, Mike. Fast X was surprisingly enjoyable. I was expecting to hate it. We'll get to it. Let's save the Fast X comments for later. We're gonna save them for later. All hail Chris Gore, the man, the myth, the legend. Oh, hey, Alan. Oh, come on.
You know, I even highlighted your chat earlier. I mean, really.
Oh, well, there you go. Chris, did you watch Indy 5? Reviews are coming out, says Killick69. No, it's played at the Cannes Film Festival. I'm not exactly at the top of Disney Lucasfilm's list. I will more than likely see it the week it comes out, which is like in a month. So more than a month. It's more than a month away. Is it like the end of June, right?
I think so, yeah. Is it what's coming out Memorial Day weekend? Yeah, who knows? Oh, it's Little Mermaid. That's
Little Mermaid, yes. Fantastic Batman mug, Chris. Well, thank you very much for that. Hey guys, good to see you. Currently sick, so don't know when I'll drop off. Well, don't drop off.
You just have it playing in the background.
Play it in the background. I've played plenty of YouTube shows in the background while I'm just sort of chilling out. So there you go. G4 was never a thing in my country, but I will watch it just for Film Threat, says Dang Die Fan. Love it. Sifax says, I went to the premiere of Attack of the Doc and had a great time, and I was tired, says Sifax. I know, I realized you were tired. You worked a full day of work and you came to the premiere. Thank you for that. Hail Frank Gore and Sensei Ing. Is that your says Kush? Is that your nickname now?
I don't think so. I thought it was X-Ray Dad for a while. Yeah.
What are you talking?
That falls right into the Sensei thing. Falls right into Knights of the Zodiac.
Hi, Dad. I miss you.
Oh well, there's your daughter.
Yeah.
I love it.
Still a disappointment to the family. She brings honor to the family.
Yeah. Well, so there you go. Okay. Moving on to more comments here before we start on our topics today. Brock Samsonite. You're right, Chris. Chris, you're right. It's literally about the effort, not the money, says Brock Samsonite. And Bethel Game says, as is not an ass. So there you go. And then Die Dinks for 10 pounds says, as Gary and Mahler are the holy trinity of nerdy geeky wonder, lovely people, smart, funny, engaging, honest. Hey, Chris, you're not too bad yourself. Much love to you and Alan. Well, I'll say this. I've gotten to know, obviously I've gotten to know Gary. I watched him before we became friends. I've gotten to know Mahler. he watched it. All three of them watched Attack of the Doc and had kind things to say. I was very like, that's the audience I made it for. Mm-hmm. So thank you very much for that. Yeah, they're all good people. Geek Truth 64 for $1.99 bought and reviewed the doc, and I don't even know you. Well, thank you for that. That's awesome. Thank you, Geek Truth 64. I appreciate it. Check out the review on his channel. I think we retweeted it from the Attack of the Doc account. Alan Horkin, you guys can read and actually pronounce can, which puts you ahead of 90% of film critics on YouTube. It's not, it's can. It's pronounced can. Not con. So,
or canis.
It's not canis either. The introspect M. All the participants should start 15 minutes early so you guys can verify screen share and mics before the show begins. We actually have the sort of StreamYard like 30 minutes before. I'm just going to be, if someone's stuff isn't working, you're off. That's it. So I will like double and triple book. So we've got 2 or 3 people on a team. If someone's tech is not up to spec, you're out. I mean, like, I'm going to go full Judge Judy on this stuff.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Behind the scenes, but we had to switch someone from defense to prosecution at the last minute. And thank goodness we did.
Yeah, no, it turned out much better. So we're actually on 30 minutes before, and the one guy's mic was working fine, and then just suddenly didn't work. So usually you got to reboot and whatever. But yes, the Critics Court show will get better, is my promise to you. And we will listen to your feedback, and we will be responsive. Killick69 says, Chris, have you watched the Tim Heidecker murder trial, fake court trial, to get ideas for your show? I watched that years ago. It's not really where the idea came from. It came from when Alan and I were reviewing and watching the Kenobi series. And I was so angry about like that so many details of the Kenobi series were bad. Like that whole idea of the IKEA chairs came from like, they're in a shuttle, a spaceship, and the chairs are like just chairs you would see in a break room at IKEA or something. And I got so angry at just this lack of attention to detail. And we were so pissed off about that Kenobi had so much potential. It was sort of like the last straw of, being a Star Wars fan. That show was just so bad that I said, we should just, Lucasfilm murdered Star Wars. We should do a trial. And then it turned into, do you remember this was last summer when Kenobi was on?
No, we've been talking about doing this for a very long time.
So we made a list of charges, like we should put Lucasfilm on trial. Yeah, what are the charges? And it was just a random thing that came up on a stream that Alan and I were doing. And then people kept asking us, when are you going to do the trial? And I'm like, we got to time it right, because I wanted to do it right.
You also had a documentary to finish.
Right. I was like finishing my doc and doing a bunch of other, I'm always doing 9 projects, but I've seen it before. That's not where I got the idea. But it was really inspired by how bad the Kenobi series was. And it was inspired by actually people in the chat like yourself who, we should do that. Thank you. Sifu would come after the family name Ing Sifu as opposed to Sifu Ing, says Mike MC Wong. And then he put
Sensei is Japanese as well. So Sifu.
And then he put some kanji characters in there. Maybe that. Alan, can you read that?
Yeah, it's Ing Sufu. Ing Sufu.
Okay. Yeah. All right. After a semester's worth of classes, I finally catch Film Threat live, says Amanda Nowicki. Hey, congratulations on your classes. I hope that will lead to much success in the future. And thank you for spending your Friday with us. Scott McKenzie, Threat Level 1, has been a member for 7 months and says, y'all rock. Enjoying serious, not serious YouTube court. Well, thank you for that. I take it seriously. Lori Ormond, Threat Level 2, has been a member for 2 months and says, for only pennies a day, you can stop hotphobia. We were talking about that Miller Lite ad where you can send in like old Bud Light like standees and posters, and they turn it into like
Feminist rage.
Compost. It was the most complicated, stupidest campaign, and it's basically a bunch of unattractive women or less attractive, unattractive women that are jealous of women who are in the bikinis in ads for beer. It's so overt. It is just right there, right in front of us. And I said, I think I said this on Gary's stream on the Nooner. I said, you're hotphobic. You're a hotphobe if you're against, if you are prejudicial against women who are hot, you're a hotphobe. And really, hotphobia is something that we have to fight. And if you're hotphobic, call that out. And there you go. Brock Samsonite says seafood, not to be confused with sisu. We will not confuse it. All right, let's get started. There's actually something I want to talk about before we get to Fast X. There's a couple of things that we need to discuss. So first thing I want to talk about is this. Alan, did you know Disney World's costly Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser to close in late September? The last days will be that you can book are the 28th through the 30th. My feeling is this will increase bookings. The Galactic Starcruiser, which was of interest to me, is closing. Why is it closing? I think maybe they priced it too high. Anyone could have predicted this. It is closing. The voyage costs around $1,200 per person per day. I mean, Disney World, Disneyland are already the most prohibitively expensive theme parks to visit. There's a TikTok video of a woman she goes through all of her receipts and what it cost for one day at Disneyland or Disney World, Disneyland. And she's with her daughters. I think she has like 3 daughters, and the family went and she just showed what everything costs. And just for a couple, it was like 10 grand. It was insane. And she's just like, we just got like normal food. We got, I bought my kids lightsabers. Those are $200 each or more. It was crazy, but this is prohibitively expensive. This is no surprise. And this comes on the heels of, this comes on the heels of the trial of Lucasfilm Disney for the murder of the Star Wars franchise. So this is really more bad news for Lucasfilm. You've got the murder trial. You've got the Galactic Starcruiser closing. Alan, you're a big, I used to love theme parks. It's now become kind of miserable to me. And I used to appear on Lorena Creole's podcast. She would talk about theme parks, and I really felt bad, like I had nothing to add. But you're much more theme park savvy than I am. What are your thoughts on this, Alan?
Yeah, I mean, first announced in 2019 at D23, and I hate to say it, I knew it was going to fail from the start. And, I think it was just a huge miscalculation of its audience. We could talk about price, which is astronomical. We could talk about the experience, but the reality is that this type of adventure only appeals to a small segment of the entire Star Wars fandom, because it requires LARPing. It requires you to go in and get into character. And I hate to say it, but when you go on vacation to Walt Disney World, you don't want to work. You just want to sit back, relax, and have some fun. You don't want to have to work and be part of this adventure. And so, to me, back in 2019, that was my first thought, was this just cannot work. And then the cost and everything, it was, I knew it was going to be expensive. I didn't realize how expensive it would be. And, and then let's pull out the final nail in the coffin. And none of the original characters were there. The original trilogy characters were in there. Chewbacca, R2-D2. I think those were the only 2. But it relied heavily on the sequels, which, quite frankly, and as we all know, does not have the appeal that the originals had. And so this is the thing. A lot of people are going to get fired. A lot of people are going to lose their jobs. And it's all because of the decisions of the people at the top. And this is indicative of Disney and a lot of other companies. But why is it that the little guy is suffering because of bad choices the people at the top are making? And this is a grand example of that. Because, what are they teaching in business school anymore? They're certainly not teaching things like, oh, there's a need from the public. Let's fulfill that need. No, they just assume if we build it, they will come, and they didn't come. So, it's a sad state that Disney is in right now.
It really, from what I heard about it, it seemed like a technical achievement, but the LARPing story aspect of it was weird, especially because it opened when people were still wearing masks. So you'd see like videos from it, and people are all in masks, which just reminds you like, oh yeah, we're in the modern present where we're all wearing masks. So you saw like videos come out and people wearing masks it looked miserable. There's one of the comments, and we'll get to your comments. It looked like a prison.
If I'd taken my family, my daughter would not be into this at all, and she would just be, sitting back with her arms folded, just not wanting to. And again, they misunderstood the segment of the crowd that would go into it.
Let's look at some comments here. Lori Ormond for 5, who's also a member. Thank you, Lori. The Galactic cruise looked like space jail, and the Rey and Kylo battle looked lame AF. I'm going to agree with you. Like, when you've seen like better cosplay, because when you go to conventions, some people put so much love and effort and into their costumes. It's incredible. I mean, there are people, there's a real thing, professional cosplayers. There's a guy I know named Bernie Bregman, he's often hired for events as a professional cosplayer. He puts on, he also puts on events during San Diego Comic-Con. Super nice guy. Bernie is so good at cosplaying. I will not recognize him when I see him. He has like this face where he can just transform into different characters from movies, and he's incredible. He is way better than the people that they had at the Galactic Starcruiser. And look, you can't blame the staff. They were working with what they were given, a script. What can you say?
Yeah, a script they can't veer off of. Quite frankly.
Exactly. So wait, there was a comment here. Joseph's Dots says, as someone who went, it is absolutely not worth what they charge. It's kind of incredible thinking about it after the fact. The best part was some of the food.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to pay that much, the food better be fantastic.
Do you know how many actual cruises you could go on for $5,000?
Oh yeah.
There are cruises you can go on that are like $500. You could go on 10 cruises.
You go on the Disney cruise, which is so much better than this.
My apologies. My voice today is a little off. Disney is going to blame the governor of Florida for Galactic Starcruiser failing. They won't take accountability for their own actions. Well, there you are.
Well, this is the big point, is you cannot learn unless you understand what really happened. If you don't understand the truth of why this failed, you're just going to keep making the same mistakes over and blaming other people. And this is the term excellence no longer applies to Disney. And this is the reason why. Because they're refusing to get to the true heart of why they failed.
Not just excellence, family entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
You can't apply that to Disney, the brand. Neanderthal 2020 sent in 20 and doesn't say anything, but we thank you for the support. Alan, you don't want the answer for that question. You don't want the answer for that question. I know what you meant, Hannibal Grimm. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I know.
I would pay $2 to send Alan's daughter to the Star Wars hotel for a review. Look, I would go to it, but I'll be brutally honest, but I wouldn't pay. I don't want to pay that. I don't want to pay that. If someone wants to pay Alan and I to go, we'll do it. And Joseph's Dots goes on, the bar was small, one Sabbath table that children wouldn't leave.
Wow.
So there you are. There you are. And then here on the heels of that, MK Solid 82 says for $4.99, already hearing bad things about Indy 5. Kathleen Kennedy just doubles down and keeps working. It's really remarkable. Yeah, it's bizarre. Like, how is it that she's had so little success? Like, you're taking a brand that was, when Disney bought Star Wars, that brand was just...
It was golden.
It was golden. You couldn't, I mean, you could just stick a Star Wars sticker on a Frisbee and you'd have a Star Wars Frisbee and people would buy it. And the fact that they didn't follow through on George's story outlines, that they went and made their own thing, that Kathleen Kennedy keeps, you know, injecting modernity into what should be classic storytelling is the reason all of this is going down the toilet. And now it's going to, the hotel is going to close, but my feeling is they'll turn it into an experience. So it'll be like, have you ever been to one of those like where it's like medieval times, right?
Mm-hmm.
Medieval times is super fun. It is so cheap. It's like $60. You get a meal, you get a show, you're in a section. So you're rooting for the blue knight. Other sections are rooting for the red knight and the yellow knight, whatever. It's so, or the black knight. It's so fun. If you've never been to medieval times, it's like a 3-hour experience. There's like a break. You can get, they bring you the food and you got to eat with your hands. So it's like a medieval experience. You've been to medieval times, right, Alan?
Yeah. I was there 2 years ago. Yeah,
it's so fun. I went last year. It was a blast. Yeah. They have another experience that's like that, but it's a pirate ship. It's not as good, they say.
Pirate adventure. Yeah, I'll say this. I think it will go the way of many attractions at Disney, and it will just stand there. Nothing. You go to Epcot. I remember Epcot. Half of the stuff at not the World Showcase. I forget the other half park at Epcot, but a lot of the buildings, the Pavilion of Health, a lot of that stuff just sat there doing nothing for the longest time. And I think Galactic Starcruiser will find that same fate.
You think it'll just? You think they're not going to do like a dinner theater, like you basically
that requires
have dinner? That
requires money. That requires money. That you got to hire the performers, the cooking staff. I don't think they can shake the stigma off at the moment. So it's going to sit there for a long time.
Well, it's sad. The idea sounded like a good idea, but ultimately was way overpriced. So there you are. Okay. Moving on. There's a bunch of trailers came out that are pretty amazing. That are pretty amazing. And there's one that no one is talking about that maybe we can watch. It's 34 seconds. And no one's talking about this trailer. So I'd like to show it. It's called Poor Things. It's from Searchlight Pictures. There was the movie that dropped with John David Washington. Is it John? Oh my God. I'm really
John David Washington. That's right.
That trailer, which I think looks amazing. This trailer, I don't even know what genre this is, but I want to show it because it's only 30 seconds. It's called Poor Things. Let me bring it up on screen. And I'm just gonna play it. And let's see.
I am finding being alive fascinating.
Oh. What the hell was that? It looks like an AI. You see all these AI. I have like a playlist where I just keep collecting all the weird AI, like, Tron, but done by Stanley Kubrick. Like, it's really amazing. So Poor Things, it's from the director of The Lobster, a movie that is a great trailer, but is not a great movie.
Mhm.
He's a weird French director, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
And it's Poor Things looks like, the production design looks like AI. No one's talking about this movie, but it's coming out this fall. It appears to be a story about artificial people. So there you go. I don't know. I just wanted to throw it out there as like another movie people haven't heard of. We could talk about Indy 5 all day, right? But really, what the problem I have with these big franchise movies that are just continue to produce diminishing returns is that it takes the oxygen away from other movies that we could be talking about. Other people say they want original movies. Well, that's an original movie. And as much as I did not love his previous film, The Lobster, I will, I'll go see this because it just looks weird. It also could be an awards film. I don't know. What do you think, Alan?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's. I'm thinking from a business standpoint, but movies like this, I do wonder what the marketing strategy is, or what is the strategy on how these movies make money. This is Fox Searchlight, so this is Disney. I'm wondering if movies like this will continue to be made, because I just don't see people flocking to theaters. I see it'll make a little bit of money in the theaters, and then they'll move to Hulu or something like that. Do movies like this have much longer? Will there be a market for it down the road?
You almost got there. You had a thought.
I know. There's a word I was looking for.
And then the thought fell in between the cushions in your couch, and then you found the thought.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, how I want to see more movies like this. I do, like Tar. But where are they going to make the money? And then are they just going to start giving up on films like this? And I guess that's good news for indie filmmakers then.
Well, look, I can't really complain. I don't always have it together, especially this morning. Happy Cinco de Mayo, folks. And don't forget the 3 brave amigos who fought the infamous El Guapo and his plethora of bandidos to free the people of Santa Poco, says Wes Ray.
The infamous El Guapo.
Infamous?
Okay.
Infamous?
He's more than famous. He's infamous.
He's infamous.
Okay.
All right. Well,
have you even seen that movie?
What's that?
The 3 Amigos.
Years ago. I have not seen it recently.
Okay.
So, all right, we're gonna pivot first.
This man El Guapo is not just famous; he's infamous.
Yeah!
Okay, you got me there, Alan. You got me. Before we get to Fast X, we're getting to Fast X, folks. I promise. We're celebrating another milestone. We are now, thanks to you, 75,000 subscribers strong. Film Threat fam strong. Thank you so much for subscribing to Film Threat. I can't believe we got to 69,000 was a big deal. And now 75,000. 69 subs, says Kush.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that.
Couldn't do it without you. Can't wait till we get to 169,000.
That'll be our next big celebration, is 169,000 subs. So that's great. Let's get into Fast X. We're gonna stay non-spoiler for the first part of this review. And here we go. Alan, you texted me right after you saw Fast X. This is the 10th film in the Fast and the Furious franchise. And it what I do like is the movie does kind of kick off and give you a little bit of context for to catch you up. Although I do recommend watching maybe some videos on YouTube of like, here's all 9 Fast and the Furious movies. Here's what you need to know. Actually, you could just walk into this and not know anything. It's
like me.
Yeah. It's a family who loves to race cars. Michelle Rodriguez is I don't know. I really like her. She's the matriarch of the family. And Alan, just tell us, give us briefly Fast X. What's the plot?
Yes. Do you know what movie I guess the Jason Momoa character is supposed to have come out of?
I forget, but it's they accidentally, well, not accidentally, they killed Jason Momoa's father.
Yeah, and it was the Fast and Furious movie that came out of Brazil. So
right.
whatever that one that was. So basically, Jason Momoa, he's avenging his father's death. He refuses to kill Dom Toretto. He wants to make him suffer. And so that's what this movie is Jason Momoa's character making everyone in Dom Toretto's life suffer in some way. One of them is to send his crew off to do a job that no one knew about, and then they create an international incident where they're being chased out by the Division, where Mr. No One is, or Nobody, whatever they call him, is missing. And his daughter, played by Brie Larson, is now taking over. In order to, a big international event occurs at the Vatican. Michelle Rodriguez, her character, gets captured by the Division. And so now it's just Dom kind of going around the world, saving everybody, meeting everybody who's ever appeared in a Fast and Furious movie. And stunts galore, family. And then the ending, which we won't talk about into spoilers, but the ending really pissed me off. I will say this. I can't say I've ever been a fan of the Fast and Furious series because of what I do. I haven't really started watching it until maybe 3 movies ago. And to me, these are animated movies to me. The danger, the car racing, all that stuff. It's all, I would say 70% of it is computer generated and computer animation. And then I will say this, the movie just got relentless after. How long is this movie? It's close to the 3-hour mark.
No, it's 2:20, I think. 2 hours.
It felt like 3 hours. My God. It's relentless. And then the ending happened. And I'm like, it's like, I'll just put it this way. The movie never ends. It just goes on and goes on. And then when you realize it doesn't end, I was just so pissed off. And it's not like I didn't even know it going in, the nature of this movie. I hate this movie.
Well, okay. I'll just say this. The Fast and the Furious movies are dumb fun. And that's all they are, is dumb fun. I'm more of a fan of Paul Walker because it felt the Paul Walker Fast and Furious movies, the early ones, felt like they were rooted in some reality. They've gone unreal. The last one I thought was just stupid, where they went into outer space. It made no sense. I like the Paul Walker ones because they at least seem like they were trying to be rooted in reality. Now reality's out the window. Nothing makes sense. It's like that Onion video where a child is just playing with Hot Wheels and they interview a child who's like the screenwriter of the Fast and the Furious movies. We should bring up that video. It's ridiculous. And I will say this. The Tokyo Drift is actually my favorite one, which is like a standalone story, kind of outside the universe slightly. Where it's Vin Diesel's not in that one. They're just sort of taking the brand. The Tokyo Drift one is great because it takes place in Tokyo. And it's and
they're drifting.
And it involves drifting. But it felt like real car racing, Tokyo Drift. These movies now, as you pointed out, they're like cartoons. Having said that, it's a fun cartoon. And what made this Fast X work for me is Jason Momoa as the villain is unhinged. To have a Vin Diesel, look, I like his character, Dom. but Dom is kind of boring, which is fine.
Too goody two shoes, basically.
It's very goody two shoes, and you know what? That's great. That's great. But to really bring out the hero in Dom, you need a great villain. Jason Momoa is he is practically like a Marvel or a DC comic book villain. He's painting his nails. He wears these flamboyant outfits. He's just sort of crazy from the death of his father and just wants revenge. The thing that made the movie work for me more than anything was Jason Momoa. And I'll say this too. You know who's really good in this film, which I was surprised? Brie Larson. Brie Larson is really good. She is, in small doses, I like her. She was good in this. I thought she was a really good supporting character. And
yeah. Hey, let me say something about Jason Momoa.
Please.
Wasted, and I'll tell you why. Because Jason Momoa's character in this movie would make a great Bond villain, and they wasted it on Fast and Furious. If you had taken that character, you could make an entire Bond movie just around this character, and it would have been a great movie.
Yeah, God, he's just really good. It's a good Bond.
I will say he is the reason to watch this movie. Absolutely,
100%. It's Jason Momoa knocks it out of the park as the villain in this film. He's just like the little touches, and it must have been he was like, oh, I get to I'm not the hero. I can just go nuts. As Aquaman, you might be the hero. They say it's really fun to play a villain when actors can play villains because you can behave badly, so to speak.
And he's not sitting back and letting his henchmen do things. I mean, he's right there in the action.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I really enjoyed it. I recommend it. Is it the greatest movie ever? No. Is it really good for a Fast and Furious movie? Absolutely. So
yeah, absolutely not.
So it's a recommend, not a strong recommend, but a recommend. And mainly Jason Momoa. And the thing is it is 2 hours and 20 minutes, but it flew by pretty quickly to me. It flew by pretty quickly.
No, it just, I came out the exact opposite.
Oh, you did?
It felt like it went on forever. And, people are making Infinity War comparisons. And I think it's true. The problem is they bring everybody out and it just goes on. And then it just goes on, and then that ending, it just goes on, and I'm like, I will say this: at the first, I'll say act, I was kind of into it. I was like, okay, this is interesting. I like this. And then around at the end of the second act, I'm like, when is this movie going to end? Maybe it's just too much action, too much pointless action, and too much computer animated action. And that's why it just felt relentless to me going near the end.
Well, it didn't bug me all that much. I'm saying, that between Jason Momoa, really amazing action sequences, I enjoyed myself. Like I say, not the greatest movie ever, but it's top tier Fast and the Furious film, and I recommend it. Let's see what you thought in the chat. Now we're going to go to our Fast X comments. Zavin says the trailer I saw for Fast X really got me in the mood to watch the Super Friends or Spider-Man and his amazing friends. Remember when Iceman wasn't gay? Well, there you go.
I love Spider-Man and his amazing friends.
That's cool. Solomon Thornton, Fast X was something else. It did have an Infinity War ending. The Fast and the Furious will always be my favorite, and the soundtrack was amazing. Well, appreciate that. Oh shoot, when you unstar the comments too quickly, then I go to click on one and then it like flips it up. I'm trying to okay. John Flera says Fast X is going to gross less in the domestic market than international. It's made for international markets. When you look at the way that they've cast it, it's definitely for international markets for sure. So yeah, it's not going to do. It'll do very well domestic, but it's going to do much better international. 100%. Wes Ray says Fast X sounds like a cheap laxative you'd see at a truck stop. Oh my God, I didn't even think about that. Fast X.
Yeah, I think the next one should be Fast Lax. And
yeah. There we go. Here we go. It looks like an art piece, not a money piece. We're talking about that trailer. Looks very Gilliam, says Ire Arky. Yeah, it does. Very Gilliam.
Oh, you're talking about the last one.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see.
We're mixing reviews here.
Fast X don't need no plot, says T-Rad Viz, who's a member. Sure. I agree. Yeah. Mike MC Wong, Brie Larson actually was not annoying in the movie. I was shocked. Yeah, no, I thought she was really good. She kind of added some menace, and I liked her. You know, are you going to be mad at me now that I like Brie Larson?
You know, one thing I'll say is, women fighting like women. I think they almost got it right. You know, I will say Brie Larson's fighting. I didn't quite buy, but when we got to Charlize Theron and Michelle Rodriguez, it was like, oh yeah, that's a really good fight. Yeah.
Let's keep going here. We're going to start from the bottom on the comments. Graph Web, how many people are they going to bring back from the dead? It's fine, whatever. I mean, it's now gotten to a point where it's like a comic book. It's a cartoon.
So is Paul Walker technically dead in the series?
No, but
his wife
had a goodbye. He had a goodbye.
Yeah. But his wife keeps showing up in the movie.
John Mannering, Infinity War comparison. I honestly don't know what to think of this movie now. It's not an Infinity War. Like, comparing it to Infinity War is actually incorrect. The movie ends on a cliffhanger. It ends kind of in the middle.
The other comparison is the fact that they bring everyone back from every past Fast and Furious film.
So that would be more like Endgame.
No, that's Infinity War. Infinity War was all the Marvel superheroes. Endgame was just the core team.
Well, there's a lot of superheroes that in Endgame too.
But Infinity War, you had the entire Guardians of the Galaxy, Doctor Strange, everyone who got blipped basically was in Infinity War.
But then in Endgame, they got unblipped and they all came back.
No, but I'm saying the sole focus of Endgame was the originals: Hawkeye, Black Widow, Captain America, Thor, Hulk. You know, those were the guys who were. That's what the story was about. Even though you had ancillary characters like Rocket and Ant-Man.
Yeah. John Mannering. I honestly don't know what to think of this movie now. It's not. I don't think it's a. Okay, maybe it's because they brought back so many people, but I don't know how that's like an Infinity. It's a modern reference. So it doesn't make sense. Amanda Nowicki, will women flock to Fast X for shirtless Jason Momoa? Yeah, for sure. Why not? I don't see anything wrong with that.
Shirtless and slightly effeminate Jason Momoa.
I thought he was great. You know what he was channeling? He was channeling the Joker, but from a very specific comic from The Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller.
Mm-hmm.
There's a really cool, like, when you see the Joker is about to confront, like, Batman and the Joker are about to fight in The Dark Knight Returns. Joker sees Batman coming towards him and he just says the word darling. And it's the weirdest thing. It's so good. It's so good. And Jason Momoa was channeling that particular incarnation of the Joker, is my theory. But yeah, I think men and women will both like this film. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. Bob 19001. It's great. They both have different takes. Well, yeah. And Alan and I can still be friends and coexist and get along.
Yeah, I saw your movie. You know, it's
so yeah, it happens. Bethel Game says this is the first time I would bet on Alan instead of Chris. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I'm saying, look, am I judging this? Look, I'm judging it as a Fast and Furious movie. This is more fun than I expected to have, mainly due to Jason Momoa. You've got a really good villain, right? A really good villain is what makes it.
I'm judging it from, if I had money to spend, would I spend it on this movie?
Yeah. Well, Imperfect says they didn't see the same movie. Well, I think maybe I just had a better time. Maybe it's because I I was at happy hour.
I
at Yard
wanted
House
to give
first.
it a chance. I honestly wanted to give it a chance. I was kind of into it at the start.
There's nothing wrong with that, man.
Yeah.
Oh, super chat here, $4.99 from Aid Robertson. Oh, $4.99 pounds. Says, hail, Chris and Alan. Watched Sisu yesterday. It was awesome. Yes, Sisu is out on digital. I'm trying to arrange a contest with Lionsgate to give out digital codes to our members. So if you're a member, you know how that works. We just give out the codes. We post them in the community tab and we give them out to members. So I'm going to do that. So yeah, I'm supposed to get some Sisu codes in the next week. So here you go. Not the Batman says, Chris, have you seen Crazy Samurai 400 versus 1? It's a low budget movie, but the shtick is that they did a one-shot 77-minute action scene they rehearsed for 8 months before filming. I haven't seen it, but now I want to.
Yeah.
That sounds really cool. Mega YouTube 99 for $1.99 says, seeing Master Gardener tonight. Thoughts on it? I saw Master Gardener. It's a slow burn drama that takes you places you would not expect based on the trailer. You think it's about one thing, it becomes about something else. I feel mixed about that film. I feel mixed about the movie.
Our review will go up later today, but I believe we gave it like a 7.5.
Yeah, if we have time today, I'll talk about it in more depth, but I'm kind of mixed. And it's from Paul Schrader, who I happen to really like. Mm-hmm. So his last movie with Ethan Hawke I thought was fantastic. This was just okay. There's my quick, but there's a shot where you're watching this movie, you're like, this is kind of slow, it's kind of boring. It's about this rich. Now I'm like reviewing the movie. But there's a moment where everything you think you're seeing just changes in a moment. And it's kind of cool. So there you go. Let's get through these chat comments and questions. Want Biscuits, don't know if anyone mentioned this. I got here late, but RIP superstar Billy Graham, one of the very best wrestlers ever. Hogan and Ventura modeled their gimmicks after him. Carry on.
Yeah, very sad. I came into wrestling just after his heyday, so I do know of Hulk Hogan and Hulk's influence he got from superstar Billy Graham.
JTP RX, who's a member, says, well, Chris likes Brie. Guess he's going to love the Marvels. Chris gets 75,000 subs, and now he goes on the Brie cheese platter. No, look, here's what I'll say about the Marvels. She's miscast as that character. I actually like Brie Larson in that Kong Island movie, Kong Skull Island or whatever it was.
I'll go all the way back to United States of Terra. That is such a good series, and she is good as the daughter of the supporting character.
Well, she's really good in that Kong's Skull Island movie. What is that noise in the background?
Does one of us have Discord open?
I don't. You do.
Okay, let me.
Can you mute it?
I'm gonna
close the tab.
I'm closing tab.
Remember, if you have too many tabs up, you know what happens.
No, it's running in the background. It's not even. I don't even have the program open, but apparently it's gonna beep like that regardless.
So Brie Larson, I just think she's miscast as Captain Marvel. She just is. She doesn't have the gravitas. I don't think she's likable in the way that Captain Marvel would need to be likable to successfully for that character to be a success. I don't know. But I'm hearing decent things about the Marvels, that it's not the movie you think it is, and that Brie Larson kind of leans into the fact that she's unlikable. Like Captain Marvel is the most likable character in the Marvels is actually Ms. Marvel. So this is what I've heard. This is what I've heard.
I know. I'm afraid that the Marvels might be good, and I'm hearing rumors that the Little Mermaid might actually be good.
No, here's what's happened is our senses have been dulled so much that average movies, we're calling average to bad movies, decent or watchable. I don't know if that's
Yeah,
true.
I mean, it's like I think with Peter Pan and Wendy, I felt like maybe it didn't go as hardcore as I thought it would, and maybe that's why I like it as much as I did.
Yeah.
But it's like there's these expectations that this is gonna that the Marvel's gonna be all feminism, and and when it doesn't meet those standards, you're kind of like, okay, well, it didn't go full bore, so maybe it was good.
The nerd far away says, I was just thinking about US of Tara, Alan. Too funny. And Solomon Thornton says, Jason Momoa was the Joker. There you go. JTPRX says, didn't the director quit in the middle of Fast X? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Jamie G. Voltaic Blood for 10. Alan?
1069.
Hail FT, my independent film project Voltaic Blood is now on Kickstarter. Don't let the corpse win. Congrats on 75K. Hey, could you look that up? Voltaic Blood Kickstarter. Google it. Let's show it. Let's show this Kickstarter campaign. I contribute to a lot of Kickstarters. I mainly in Kickstarter, I go for comic books, because what's really cool about comic books on Kickstarter is that they're generally finished. They just need the money to print. And then, like, how many do I print? Do I print 1,000 or 10,000? Right? Like, who knows how many you're going to sell? But what I look on donating to a comic book Kickstarter as is kind of like a pre-order. So I donate to a lot of those, and then documentaries. Documentaries and other movies. I donated to a campaign for Life on the Farm, which was reviewed on Film Threat, a very good documentary, Life on the Farm. I donated to a movie. It took them years to make, like 5 years. I didn't care. I know about what it takes to get a movie made and complete and released, but the head that wouldn't die, or the brain that wouldn't die, they did a modern remake of it, but it was set in it's a modern remake. It's really good. They played the festival circuit and it came out. And so that was another one I donated to. Let's take a look at Voltaic Blood. Alan, did you find it? Bring it up and share.
I have, but it's not, I don't know if I'm at the right one, or because it's not giving me, it's not showing anything except the logo. And now it wants me to reset my password. And because yeah, do you find it? Okay.
Yeah. Alan, come on, Alan.
No, I'm trying to log in and it wants me to reset my password.
Oh my God.
You have it pull it
I
up.
found it. Okay, right. Here we go. Here it is. 10,000 gold, 25 days to go. You'll totally make it. Can you see it up on, I'm sharing screen right now. There it is. Voltaic Blood. It's on Kickstarter now. There are only 7 backers. Come on, let's get that up there. What are the reward packages? See, I usually just go for, like, send me the movie, a digital copy of the movie. That's all I care about. So let's see. Here, I can go 40. All right, continue. Here we go. There. Oh, I gotta like. I might have revealed some private information there. So that I feel nervous about that. No, there was nothing. Yeah, that's good. Congrats. I will back it. That's great. Pilot episode. That looks really good. Look at this. We've got the video, all the different pledge packages here. Love it. It's great. Yeah, I generally go for like the digital. Give me the digital copy. So there you go. Congratulations, Voltaic Blood, on this. You will make it. There's a whole, remind me also, reach out to me by email. I'll send you a essay that a friend of mine wrote about how to raise money on Kickstarter for independent movies. It's like a 15-page essay. He goes through it generally. And there's a thing called, you should use, it's a tool called KickTrack. It's KickTrack, TRAQ. In fact, I'm going to find it. KickTrack, what it will do is it will give you an estimate of what it thinks you will make, and based on the trends in your campaign. So you enter the URL. I'm going to do this right now. And I'm going to show you how KickTrack works. But I'll send you this essay by email, and use a tool called KickTrack. And it very, yeah, here, I'm going to share screen for that. I want to use, obviously, sometimes we talk about things on Film Threat where I want to try to share information with people. And this goes for any campaign. So it's a tool called KickTrack, TRAQ, and it will tell you based on the trends where your campaign will end up. Let me zoom in on that because I want you to be able to see it. So hang on, folks. Hang on. So KickTrack, very useful tool. And this, based on your current pledge level, you're 22% towards the goal. You're trending towards 13,931, 139%. Trends are not projections. They update it every day. They give you lots of data points. So I really recommend using this tool, KickTrack. It'll tell you whether you're trending in the right direction or wrong direction. And you really need to get to halfway through your campaign. You should have at least half of your, like, it's like 90% of Kickstarter campaigns, if they reach half their goal, half of the funding goal at the halfway mark, they get 100% funded. You're trending towards more than 100%, but you've got to be relentless. The middle of the campaign, the beginning and the end, like you get like big bursts. The middle of the campaign is the worst. So check out this campaign, Voltaic Blood. So there you go. And thank you for your contribution, Jamie G. You have contributed many times to Film Threat, so want to give you a decent shout out there. We appreciate the support.
By the way, we have some Rumble rant. We have a Rumble rant.
Let's hear it. Rumble rant
from Deeds MN for $5. Enjoy your takes. You're part of my weekly entertainment. Won't donate on YouTube, so glad you're over here. And then he became a monthly supporter.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much. Thank you. And shout out to everybody watching us on Rumble. I have taken to watching some of my favorite shows on Rumble now. So yeah, I think it's a cool new platform. I found some other shows on there, so I'm liking it. I mean, and I've actually emailed them, and they're very receptive to feedback. Like this feature would really be helpful for us, and they're great. The people at the people there.
And and hopefully the API for Rumble will come to StreamYard soon. So
yeah,
I'm told it'll be a month. So
MK Solid 82 for $4.99 says, I think it's funny how Galaxy's Edge hires beautiful brunettes who look like Ray to walk around. You'd think girls like that could find better work. Well, they're not. Obviously, they're not hiring attractive women for Bud Light ads or Miller Lite ads because of people who work in marketing departments who are hotphobic. This is now a real problem in marketing. It's a real problem in marketing. Women who work in marketing departments who are hotphobic, they do not like women who are hot, and this is a real problem. It is a form. It's discrimination, and it's a real thing. So I guess MK Solid 82, what work can they get these days? So there you are. Chris has written books. I had no idea, said Want Biscuits. Are you saying that sarcastically? Yeah, I've written several books. I wrote 4 editions of a book called The Ultimate Film Festival Survival Guide. So now most of that information is just out there. I wrote a book called The 50 Greatest Movies Never Made about unproduced screenplays or movies that started filming and they stopped and the movie was never released. So I don't know, just look me up on Amazon. I don't think I'm the only author named Chris Gore.
Yeah, there's a pastor named Chris Gore.
There is a pastor? Okay, tell me if you think this is a good idea for a movie. Okay. So there's a pastor named Chris Gore. If you look up Chris Gore, he is a pastor. He's one of those televangelists. He's apparently famous among religious people. There is a Chris Gore who is a professional race car driver. There is a Chris Gore who's a professional fisherman. There is a Chris Gore in Australia who is a television, who is on TV, who covers the financial markets, named Chris Gore. And so what I was thinking of doing is inviting all these people named Chris Gore to dinner. And we would have a dinner and talk about what it's like to be named Chris Gore.
And then you would murder each one individually.
I would murder them there, and it would be like Glass Onion Part 3. Okay, now that I say it out loud, that's a terrible idea for me. I just didn't realize, like, why are there, like, look, and there is Christopher Gore wrote the screenplay for the movie Fame. And somebody asked me if I was that Chris Gore. You know who it was? It was really weird. I was at one of those like awards events that you and I go to, Alan.
Mm-hmm.
It was a guy named Bruce Valanche. You might know who Bruce Valanche is.
I know Bruce.
Bruce Valanche. I met Bruce Valanche and he said, "Oh, you're Chris Gore." He goes, "Oh, like, I think I know your mom." And, you know, like, he went on and on about like Chris Gore's mom. It wasn't my mom. He thought I was the Chris Gore that wrote Fame. I am not. But yeah, I don't know.
But you're not a Christopher, right?
I am a Retro Nerd Girl. There can be only one Chris Gore. Subscribe to Retro Nerd Girl's channel. She is killing it lately with watch parties and just conversation about retro stuff. And unfortunately, a lot of the shows, Retro Nerd Girl, are in the evening. So I'm usually out and about. But when I catch it, I'll be on my phone and, you know, you're live. So I'll drop a comment in there. But yes, there can be only one Chris Gore. Thank you, Retro Nerd Girl. She is, her channel is blowing up. Congrats.
I looked up my name recently, and I used to always appear on the front page, the first page, and I don't anymore. I did not realize there are so many Alan Ings in the world. And the most notable is there's a rapper out of, a young rapper out of Hong Kong, Alan Ing. And then there's a violinist, Alan Ing. And I think now I'm back on the first page, but there was a while where I couldn't get on the first page if for the life of me. I
will look you up. I'm going to look you up.
Look at the many memes. Even YouTube. There's like at least 24 of me.
There you go. Angry Yeti TV for 2. All hail Judge Frank, most unbiased, biased judge. Look, I am, when it comes to Critics Court, I am no more or less biased than any Supreme Court justice. All judges come with their biases. My role is to facilitate conversation and to keep things fun, to have a fun debate. There you go. Justin Lin had major disagreements with Vin Diesel and left Fast X. Thank you for that, JTPRX. Mega YouTube 199. Are you going to watch Weber's new movie? If Eric Weber made a movie, if I was his friend, I would watch it. How's that for an answer? So there you go. Jericho Leon, who's a member, says, Chris and Alan, you guys have a very balanced view on movies. The fact that Chris thinks Brie is a solid actor but miscast, and Alan appreciating Peter Pan speaks volumes. This is why Film Threat rocks. Well, thank you, Jericho Leon. I just try to take it as like unbiased. Like I'm not like, you know, I do have my biases. Just, you know, in court, like I think that Disney has bungled. That's a minor word for it. They've destroyed the Star Wars franchise. They really have. And I want the people who like Disney Star Wars and people who dislike it to talk to each other rather than yell at each other on social media. That's why I'm doing this trial, is to get people that don't talk to each and get them to listen. So you can hear the argument. You don't have to agree with it, but you can hear it. But thank you for that. We try to be balanced. You know, Alan and I don't always agree. We don't agree on this movie, Fast X. But, you know, you can look, you should never just you know, get a bunch of different opinions and you make your own choice. You come into it with, you know, however you feel. Let's see. Imperfect says they're fine. Chris is just busting Eric's ovaries. A little, like, yeah, I'm busting his ovaries for sure. He is kind of acting childish, and I don't know what to tell him. I'm just, look, if your friend does something wrong, you should call them out, and that friend should try to make amends. If they care about the relationship, they would make an effort to make amends. Apology is a first step, and making amends for that thing. But the fact that people that like barely know me have gone out of their way to see the movie that I made is it really makes me feel grateful that so many people out there care. So there you are. And Colby Calhoun, if I pronounced that correctly, just became a YouTube member. Thank you for that. Join our Discord. There's a link to the Discord. You can see all the links for members only. And we're going to be doing we're doing the Sisu giveaway, I think, next week. We have some other giveaways coming up. John Manilang, Alan being biased is absurd. Alan, absolutely inconceivable. Inconceivable. What is that that actor? Inconceivable.
Oh, that's Wallace Shawn.
Oh, I love Wallace Shawn. Yeah. Inconceivable. He's so great. Thanks, John. Appreciate that. Chris Gore makes his take on the Jet Li movie, The One. He starts taking on characteristics of other Chris Gores. He deletes, says Matthew Hammond. That could be, yeah, it could be it. I was just thinking of making a weird documentary that could be shot in one day. So it could be
on Rumble. BMO Better says the Council of Gore. Yeah,
the Council of Gore. Yeah, I think it's a BMO Better.
BMO Better. Okay. Yep, you're probably right.
And Voltaic Blood says, thanks, Chris. Hey, if I didn't email it to you already, email me, and after the stream, I'll send you this essay that my buddy wrote that will help you. It's going to help you a lot. And check out that Kick track. And so very excited. Congratulations to you. Congratulations. Alan Horkin says Short Term 12 was a good indie film with Brie Larson before she was famous. I like the movie Room that she was in. I thought she was very good in it. I think the kid delivered really the performance that made it.
You think she might be making a turn? I mean, I saw that interview at Cannes. I've always this last year I've just felt like Brie Larson is kind of lost. That she's maybe the pressure of being woke and being trying to fulfill what Hollywood wants her to be is just kind of wearing on her, and I just feel like maybe she's coming around.
Well, she's on kind of what I would say a redemption arc, but if I saw her, she said something that I thought was the wrong message. She had the right intention, but the wrong way of putting it. When she said, I don't care what some old white guy thinks about a wrinkle in time. And she was basically, and look, I believe that. I think there should be more seats at the table. But what's happening is they're doing things like the POC screening of a movie that Alan's invited to that I'm not invited to. What I'd rather do is you have multiple screenings or bigger theaters. I'm all about let's have more voices, more. That's a good thing. I like different opinions. But the way she put it, she did this sort of rant against the old guard of critics. And, I'm of the opinion, I've always been of the opinion, add more seats to the table. Add more seats to the table. But if you're just replacing an older form of exclusion with a new form of exclusion, right? Just like, the POC screening that you couldn't even bring me as a guest. And you're basically in an empty theater seeing a screening. It's ridiculous. And I don't agree with those kinds of things. I'm glad that you get to see the movie early, Alan. Like that, I'm all about. I think that's cool. But the fact that you couldn't even bring me as a guest is stupid.
Yeah, no, I was concerned about this apparent all-white guy screening of The Flash that you're going to.
It's not an all-white guy screening. It's like a fan event thing that somehow I got in. So yeah, I have a problem with what Brie Larson said. I think she's getting bad advice. A lot of actors are just empty vessels. They just parrot what other people say. Oh, is this the opinion I'm supposed to have? Okay, I'll pretend to have this opinion. And then, you know, and then they just end up sounding stupid because it's a really uninformed opinion.
Or maybe that persona is not really them, and they're having a hard time incorporating that into their public persona.
Well, by the very nature of being an actor, you're pretending to be someone else. You are pretending to be a different person. And so what happens is with a lot of actors, they don't know who they are. They get so into being a character. Austin Butler, when he played Elvis, couldn't get rid of the accent. He literally had like an Elvis accent, that sort of Southern drawl, forever after. In interviews, he couldn't get rid of it. Actors they get so involved in the role, you're literally becoming another person. And so when they're not acting, they're kind of lost. So there you go. Yeah. So here we are. Back to your comments. The chat's on fire today. We've had like 400 people watching today.
We have 30 on Rumble,
and 30 watching live on Rumble. We appreciate that. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. We're like 1,100 subs on Rumble, which is great.
Oh, wow.
So there you go. We haven't showed that one in a long time.
At some point, I want to talk about the ending of.
Okay, yeah, we'll get to it. We're gonna get to it.
Yeah.
Some more comments here. MK Solid 82 for $4.99. When I was a kid, Kathy Ireland came to my local bar on the East Coast to promote a new beer. How times have changed. Hotphobia is real. Call out people. It's no different than any other kind of discrimination. Hotphobia is real. I'm gonna just do this for a second. I'm gonna do this for a second here. I'm gonna get angry. I can feel it. A freaking IKEA chair. Hotphobia is real. There are women being discriminated in the workplace. There are women being discriminated against on social media. And those women are hot. And I am tired of these hotphobes. I'm talking to the women who work in marketing departments at beer companies, the women who are very active on social media, shaming other women for their attractiveness and good looks. In my world, there are no ugly women. There are only lazy women. Any woman who puts in the time, the effort at the gym, in clothing, you get clothing that is complementary to your body type. Any woman can be a 10, can be attractive if she puts in the work. And these hotphobes, I miss the old beer ads where you would have girls in bikinis fighting each other or mud wrestling. Bring back sexy, hot, attractive women and call out the hotphobes. Hotphobia is rampant in this country. We need to stamp out hotphobia. If you see someone acting hotphobic, call them out. Call out the hotphobes. Hashtag hotphobe. Shame them. Shame those people. How dare they discriminate against attractive women? A freaking IKEA chair. All right, we're gonna get into spoilers for Fast X. What did you?
It's so shameful. Yes.
Look, I say that with a grin. I say it with a grin, but I'm just gonna use stupid tactics. We need to come up with like Istanphobe names for other people, because if certain types of language and name calling is going to be used, I will push back with my own name calling. So there you go. We will get into spoilers in a minute. We're going to talk about the ending of Fast X. Some more super chats here. Geek True 64 for 199. I subbed around 19,000 subs. Congrats on hitting 75,000. Thank you, Geek Truth 64. We appreciate it. And subscribe to Geek Truth 64's channel. There's a very good review of Attack of the Doc on there. Thank you for that. I really, really appreciate it.
By the way, I do like seeing attractive women in ads and things like that. But truly, there's only one Lizzo, and you know, it's like, what can you do? Where are you going to find these hot women?
Well, what bothers me, truthfully, is that Miller Lite ad campaign, they blurred out the images, the faces of the women in bikinis that were in the posters and ads, so they didn't have to pay them. Yeah. Do you realize how hypocritical and disgusting that is? I'm just tired of these hypocrites. So if we have to make up a word to shame them, we will make up a word and we will call them out. It is literally jealousy. Someone being jealous of another woman who happens to be more attractive. That's all that is. I cannot believe that campaign went unnoticed and people didn't see the stupidity. Stop. You know what? Hire people who actually use the product. How about that?
Yeah. Well,
it's someone that is the biggest Miller Lite fan, that they've got a Miller Lite neon sign in their man cave. Hire that dude and let him decide. You think those jobs are hard? They're not that hard. You're coming up with dumb ideas for advertising that should be funny and entertaining. And oh, by the way, get our beer. Sorry, Alan, I cut you off.
Yeah, I mean, that Bud Light executive who basically said that Bud Light couldn't sustain itself on the frat boy image. You know, again, what are we teaching in universities, in business school? You know, why are, you know, it's like, it's almost as if they're saying, we don't want your business anymore. And clearly we're not giving Bud Light our business anymore. Well, it's just amazing to me that this is the mentality of what is coming out of business school at this time.
Mega YouTube for 199 says, Alan, can you spit some bars? You're a rapper. How would you define exploitation, Alan?
Exploitation? Gratuitous.
All right, Alan, can you rap a little?
No.
All right, you know,
I'm not kidding.
It's my turn then. It's my turn. It's my turn. Well, there you go. Thank you, Mega YouTube, for 199. My Comic Planet for 5. Hey guys, what do you think about the very mixed reviews for Indy 5 so far? Some critics really hated it. This is looking like a disaster for Disney. Alan?
I've not been following the reviews of Indy 5.
I've been following it. It's 50% on Rotten Tomatoes. Can you bring up Rotten Tomatoes?
Sure.
Alan, can you bring up Rotten Tomatoes? Alan, can you bring it up?
We're getting there.
Just look it up, Alan. Alan, I believe you can do it. Alan, quickly, Alan. Rotten Tomato review, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. It's not called Indy 5. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Alan, 10 seconds. Alan, hurry. Okay, all right, you found it.
47%.
Some people have told me that they get stressed out when we play that music.
I know.
I know. Okay, so 47% on Rotten Tomatoes with 19 reviews. Let's take a look at these.
This damn thing is fun. Mangold may not have the young Spielberg musical flair for extravagant action choreography. Who does? But he is tougher, leaner director using tighter frame and keeping the camera close.
Go
ahead.
Oh, no, I'll read. Esther Zuckerman from the Daily beast. The de-aging and other CGI manipulations of Ford's body only serve to demonstrate the Dial of Destiny just wants to turn back the clock instead of doing anything new. Keep scrolling down. They're mixed reviews. The reviews are mixed. It's a sad and safe ending for a series that once prided itself on big escapades and larger than life emotions. Dial of Destiny shows that some relics should just stay buried. Ooh. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny may not be the finest film of the franchise, but it's far from the worst. It's solid entertainment with a legendary character riding off into the sunset one final time.
Far from the worst. I mean,
yeah, well, I don't know.
Yeah, what are they saying there?
It's an improvement on the execrable. All right, someone's going to clip that. Crystal Skull. But James Mangold's exhumation of Spielberg adventure serial is both tame and unnecessary. The jokes, the zest, and the exuberance just aren't there. So instead of a joyous send-off for our beloved hero, we get a depressing reminder of how much livelier his past adventures were. There you go. Yeah, it's
It's not living up to the reputation of Indiana Jones.
Joyless piece of nostalgic hokum, says Owen Gleiberman. I like Owen from Variety. So yeah, it's
these are all top critics too. I mean,
yeah, these are all top critics. These are not like, these are the top critics who got to see it at Cannes. Wow.
Yeah, it ultimately feels like a counterfeit of priceless treasure.
Yeah, the shape and gleam of it might be superficially convincing for a bit. But the shabbier craftsmanship gets all the more glaring the longer you look. All right.
I think speaking of the CG, the CG heavy, which again, that says nothing about CG was never a term you used with the original Indiana Jones trilogy.
Yeah. Well, let's go through. Alan, can you read some of these comments? I gotta set something up for us here. So just a moment.
All right.
Get through the comments.
So let's see. Yeah, Will Harper. Attack of the Dock was incredible, Chris. It was such a nostalgic reminder of a better time in fandom. Amanda Nowicki says, fast cars and hot women. At least the series kept the fast cars. This is what I was actually thinking about when I was watching the movie. Wom Biscuit says, Cannonball Run greater than entire F&F franchise. It did feel like Cannonball Run about midway through the film.
Yeah, it just got ridiculous. Let's talk about the ending though.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's the ending that really pissed me off.
Okay, so we're in spoiler territory. We should put that.
And we're not really. This is not a real spoiler, so to speak. It's just the nature of the movie. And I had, when I saw it, I had asked you the question, did you know this was a part one? Because I had no clue this was a part one.
Right.
And if I had known it was a part one, maybe my reaction to it wouldn't have been so angry. But the idea that this movie is going to keep going and I'm going to have to watch more of this just really got me pissed off. And my guess is maybe this part two is a Hobbs and Shaw sequel. I don't know if there's going to be a Fast and Furious sequel, but just the fact that they didn't end things and the feeling of, oh God, I'm gonna have to watch more of this just really set me off. And that's my visceral emotional reaction to this movie. Well,
more comments here. Yeah, I know going in knowing it was like a part one, I didn't mind it. Because I knew it was going to end on a cliffhanger. Dom T, Threat Level 1, has been a member for 9 months, says 9 months of service to Film Threat Nation. Hail all. Thank you very much, Dom T.
Was this being promoted as a part one?
No. It was not being promoted as a part one. Not at all. The Introspect M, tell your wife she's beautiful, like Lizzo. That's how it goes. Fletcher Williams, I Suck at Games channel. Fast X was fun, but it wasn't coherent. So there you go. Geek Truth 64. Oh, wait. Geek Truth. Wait, what? I'm trying to highlight these. Okay, I already did that one. Davina Duckworth, Tokyo Drift has its charm. Yeah, I agree. I like Tokyo Drift. I thought Tokyo Drift was fun. It's like, you know what's so cool about that? I saw Tokyo Drift at a drive-in with my son. So one thing I would strongly recommend, go see Fast X at the drive-in. You're actually in a car watching a movie about cars. How fun is that? It's like a ride. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. Mike MC Wong says Mission Impossible is doing the same. Will Alan hate it too?
No, I know it's a part one.
Yeah.
I know it's a part one. Plus, there's a reputation of the Mission Impossible series that I believe will be upheld. And so I feel like I will enjoy it more.
Geek Truth 64. If it's going to keep going and I have to watch more of this, I'm going to be pissed off, says Alan 2023. Want Biscuit says, I'll agree with the dumb part, Chris. Yeah. Fast and Furious died with Paul Walker. Gonna have to agree with that. But I don't know. I have less interest. I like Tokyo Drift. I like the Paul Walker ones because here's why the Paul Walker ones were better. They weren't as they felt more grounded in reality.
It was actually cars doing stunts.
It was literally, and same thing with Tokyo Drift. Go back and watch Tokyo Drift. There's very little digital, and if there is, it's just much better handled.
Can you imagine if they did those drift stunts CG?
Yeah, it's
there's no danger now in watching it, which the trademark piece in this last one of the neutron bomb rolling down the streets of Rome. It's like, this is not real, and so there's just no vested interest in this stunt at all.
Uncle Doug's channel says Brie Larson is hot. Watch her over the FF always. So there you go. Yeah, I mean, you can't deny that. Yeah. Hannibal Grimm, same for me, Alan. These films remind me of 80s cartoons. Oh, that's a good analogy. It's like an 80s cartoon for sure. So yeah. And let's see. Yes. Another one from Fletcher Williams here. Fletcher Williams, I Suck at Games channel, Threat Level 2, has been a member for 4 months and says there are only 3 Indiana Jones. Thumb up. So I will agree with that. There's those 3 movies. It kind of ended perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
There's just, sometimes it's just good to that's just it. I mean, can you name a 4th or 5th film in a franchise where it's actually decent? It's hard. It's
Rocky,
hard.
maybe?
Oh, and Geek Truth 64 became a YouTube member. Hey, thank you, Geek Truth 64. Make sure to join the Discord. Members get access to the Discord. You can even I'm not suggesting you do this. You can become a member and then just become a member for 1 month, get on the Discord, and then you'll just always have access to the Film Threat Discord. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun on the Discord. Mega YouTube for 199. Everyone who dies in Fast and Furious always ends up coming back. Will Paul Walker come back? I don't think so.
Only half of them dies.
That would be weird if Paul Walker came back. My Comic Planet for 5. What's your favorite Fast film? For me, it was the first one. That one was still grounded in reality and was only about cars. I would say definitely the early ones, probably the first one and Tokyo Drift. But Tokyo Drift is almost like, Tokyo Drift is kind of like a comic book one shot where it's, just like it comes, it's sort of out of the reality or out of that universe, just focusing on one character. And I like this sort of like, he's a white kid going to school overseas in Japan. And, he races cars, but there's, they're kind of, they're bullying him for being a white kid. I thought, which was just different and interesting. So, and the car stuff in Tokyo Drift is just out of control. It's so good. So yeah, I would say probably the first one and Tokyo Drift are among my favorite. And then the other ones are they're popcorn movies. I ate a whole thing of popcorn last night. I mean, I shared it with people I was sitting with, but yeah, I had a lot of popcorn last night.
Yeah. My first fast film was, I guess, the one where they were in Dubai and they had to jump across from one building to the other. And yeah, I guess that was a bad film to start the series off with.
Yeah. Yeah. Fat Steven JFG for 22 says, "Hail, Frank Gorlock of Film Threat." Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. All right. What do we want to say? We have a couple of filmmakers coming on. The director of Simulant and the director of a film called Bloody. What am I saying?
Bloody Bridget.
Bloody Bridget will be joining us, which Richard Elfman, Danny Elfman's brother, is going to be here in about 15 minutes. But let's wrap up our conversation about Fast X. Looks like we're going to have to talk about Queen Cleopatra next week. So to be clear, Tuesday we want to do 1 p.m. Pacific time.
Yeah, let's do that.
Tuesday, a special episode of the film of Hollywood on the Rocks. We're going to be talking about non-spoiler early reaction from Alan about The Little Mermaid. And I'm going to be talking about The Flash. So that is going to be next Tuesday at 1 p.m. I'll set it up after this. And I'll let Glenn know. We got to let everybody know.
I know. I had to check my calendar.
And Ms. P. Coffee, if she's unable to make it, or our mods, Lord Thoth. We have to do it. I mean, we have to do it. Yeah. So yeah, I'll be talking about so next week we'll talk about The Flash, Little Mermaid, and Queen Cleopatra on Tuesday. It's going to be like an emergency live stream. Okay. All right. More of your comments here. Alan in a theater watching The Little Mermaid. Yeah. What's wrong with that?
We got the invite. Like I said, the only reason my daughter is going is because it's at the El Capitan.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She wants to go to the Funko store afterwards.
What's at the Funko store?
Funkos.
All right. That's fair enough. Yeah. So she wants to go.
Hi, Dad. I miss you.
Can you see why she's such a disappointment?
All right. And then, so next week's going to be a busy week for us. Tuesday, an emergency live stream. We have Critics Court, which is happening on Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific time, and our normal show a week from today, Little Mermaid. And the trial is on fire. We get more live viewers during the trial than any of our other shows. What?
I forgot we still had that.
Yeah, more of your chat comments and questions here as we wait for our special guests to join us. Alan's daughter reviews Mermaid or I Walk. Well, Alan usually, when it comes to, say, kids movies or animated films, generally, like, he'll like say what her opinion is. Right?
Yeah. This will be interesting. I mean, I've always been a big fan of Disney animated. Little Mermaid definitely was one of my favorites. It's one of her favorites, and so she's kind of going in with a bit of trepidation. I did listen to the soundtrack this morning,
and
it's not the original. And hey, this is what people are going to talk about. But Awkwafina has a song, and I believe this will be a source of contention for this movie.
All right, more your comments.
Ever since they took away her black scent, Awkwafina has not been the same.
MK Solid 82. Alan needs to put some flowers into dead Kermit's hands.
I know. I keep telling her she's got to do something with Kermit.
You got to pose him. It looks like a funeral casket.
I know.
It looks like a casket at a funeral.
By the way, she was excited to put up those Funkos over there. There's Miles Morales on top.
I've got some Funkos I should just give you, Alan, because I'm not. I don't want them. Some more comments and questions. Andrew 1234545. Do you think you will like The Flash? Thoughts before you see it? I love that trailer, mainly because of Michael Keaton. I think I will. I'm looking forward to it. I wasn't looking forward to Shazam 2, and that turned out to be kind of not great. But I am looking forward to The Flash. I'm not as bothered by Ezra Miller as other people are. I think that he's a side character in comic relief. And thankfully in The Flash, he's a side character in comic relief because Michael Keaton Batman is in it, because Supergirl is in it. And I can't wait to see it. So I'm seeing it Monday night. There you go. My Comic Planet for 5. Rob did a phenomenal job during the Star Wars trial, displaying an encyclopedia of Star Wars knowledge. It was riveting stuff. So bravo to Mr. Burnett. Yes, subscribe to his channel, Robservations. Just look up Robert Meyer Burnett, because he has changed the name of his channel a couple of times.
Post
Geek Singularity.
Oh, Post Geek Singularity. That's it.
Yeah.
By the way, he had a great interview with former head of WGA, and Gary Neurotic was there in that conversation too. So yeah, if you want to get a good idea of what's happening with the WGA strike, that's the one to watch.
Cool. Yeah, thank you. Rob will be back, not next week, but in coming weeks. Emergency live stream planned days ahead, says Tertiary. Well, emergency in the sense that like we know we're seeing what movies we're seeing. So Alan and I, like Alan will talk about Little Mermaid, I'll talk about The Flash, and then we're both going to talk about the Cleopatra show on Netflix. So yeah, it's an emergency. We're just letting you know it's not a regularly planned thing. I got to set up the stream. So there you go. Shucksy says, I don't know. He was praising Kathleen Kennedy. That makes me question reality too much.
I know Paul Chano was praising her as well.
Well, two things can be true at the same time. She can be an excellent producer. I don't think she's a creative producer. She can be an excellent producer in the sense that she can produce and get things done and meet deadlines and budgets and all that. Does that mean that she's very good at the creative aspect of producing? I think the answer to that is no. So there you go. Our guest is late. Hopefully it was just some wires crossed, and Richard Elfman will be joining us momentarily. But it is what it is. Things happen, and there you are. So there you go. Back to your comments and questions here, folks. Razorburn, love Star Wars Girl. Anna, that Star Wars Girl is great as prosecution. She might be back next week. What's weird is I meet people that either love Anna or they really don't like her. And it's kind of disheartening. Like, I don't know, like I've seen Anna on other live streams. She's very combative, which I think is good. She stands up for her opinions. So I like Anna. I don't always agree with Anna. She has some opinions where I think, oh my God, how could you have that opinion? That's crazy. But like, I don't dislike her because of that. I don't know. I think she adds something, and she will be back, maybe even next week. We've got, oh man, there's so many good guests that are going to be coming up. June, oh my God. It's going to be nuts. It's going to be nuts. What I'm really hoping for with the trial, okay, stay with me on this. What I'm really hoping for is drama. I want to see people get angry. I want to see people go at it. I want to see someone rage quit the stream. I want it to be nuts.
I thought that's what you didn't want was the inability to not have a conversation.
No, you can have a conversation, but it should be like crazy moments. Like, have you ever watched that Whatever podcast?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't watch it, but I've seen it. Yeah.
Oh my God. That show is crazy. People will get up and walk out. People get kicked off the show. People like I think that show is it's awesome. So
I feel like that show has better clips than it does than the regular show.
well, it's like 5 hours,
I know. Oh
but I just want people to talk to each other, and if they get like passion is a good thing. I don't want people on there that, like, well, I guess I'll just defend this side because that's whatever. It's like, no, like you passionately feel this way. This is, I think it's important. It's very important. So yeah, Star Wars girl will be back. And a lot of people are going to hate that, unfortunately. Chris, thoughts on Killers of the Flower Moon trailer? Looks amazing, in my opinion. Scorsese plus Leonardo DiCaprio, plus Robert De Niro is a winning combo. It looks awesome. It looks, the Killers of the Flower Moon, if you've not seen the trailer, it's from Apple, is putting it out. They are putting this movie in theaters. Mm-hmm. They are one-upping Netflix. It will eventually be on Apple TV Plus, but it will get a major theatrical release. Apple makes, I heard the statistic, Apple makes $1 billion every 3 days. They bring in $1 billion in revenue every 3 days. When you look at the number of services they provide, when you look at like what they sell in terms of hardware, phones, etc., they're bringing in $1 billion every 3 days. They can release a big movie theatrically. They can afford to lose money on a streaming service. I think Apple, of all the streaming things, they may end up being the winner by just waiting out these streaming wars, and Apple may end up just consuming all these other streaming services. Crazy.
Yeah, but all that money, how much of that is Apple TV? Because I would submit.
Oh, they're losing money. They're losing money big time. But it doesn't matter because I think they've gotten really good taste. I mean, look, with Coda, they won Best Picture. I don't think that's a great Best Picture, that movie Coda. I think it's an average film. It's good. It's good, but it's not an Oscar winner. It's not a movie you're going to revisit 5 years from now and go, oh my God.
But didn't they do the Clinton TV show?
Yeah, that's the Hillary Clinton show. Yeah, just like that. The trailer for that just was nauseating. But the trailer itself, Leonardo DiCaprio in this, I mean, you could see like the whole thing is basically, I mean, the trailer looks like it's going to delve into some dark issues, but Leonardo DiCaprio, I barely recognized him. He changed his face. Have you seen him in the trailer?
I haven't, but I will say the accent is typical Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, he doesn't even look like Leo. But the only thing I don't like about the movie is the name of the movie. Killers of the Flower Moon reminds me of what's that movie? Oh my God, I'm spacing out.
That infamous movie.
That infamous movie. There's a fake movie in another film called The Flower That Drank the Moon, and it's making fun of dumb indie film titles where you're like, what the hell is that about? So there you go. A couple more comments before our special guest joins us, waiting in the wings in our digital green room. Imperfect says modern Jerry Springer. Yeah, that's what whatever podcast is for sure. And wait, there was another comment. Star Wars Theory. We will try to get Star Wars Theory on the trial. I want to get the kinks out of the format. I like the idea of cross-examining. We will do that next week. And so there you go. So next week, 3 live streams next week. Cannot wait to have you all. Now, today, a filmmaker whose work you are a fan of already. If you've seen a film called The Forbidden Zone is a cult classic. He makes small indie movies with heart. Here he is. You need to know Richard Elfman. Richard, thank you for joining us on the show today. Good to see you, sir. Let me put you front and center. And hey, how's it going? Hey, look at this. Aliens, Clowns, and Geeks. You've got all your posters back at Forbidden Zone 2, and you have a new film out called Bloody Bridget.
Very bloody. And by the way, I've been a fan of Film Threat forever, guys, and thank you for having me on today. What a treat.
Well, just a treat. Also, like, I love running into you, like, I don't know, at parties and events. I feel really bad because you've invited me to your barbecues at your place, your infamous barbecues. And
it's an event called the Barbecue Bacchanals.
Yes, the Barbecue Bacchanals. And also
wine and performance.
Yeah, and also we had your, I guess you would call Molly Elfman is your
niece.
That's your niece. She's been on the show.
Yeah, very talented lady.
Yes, your brother's daughter, Molly, has been on the show. I knew Molly when she was covering movies. She was a film journalist, and now she's a filmmaker in her own right. But Bloody Bridget, it's hit the festival circuit. Tell us about Bloody Bridget.
Well, it's voodoo deity Baron Samedi mistakes a red-haired burlesque dancer for his missing wife, the red-haired Maman Brigitte, and he transforms her into a Valentine vampire. What is that, she asks. Oh, you shall see. Blood only whets her appetite. She has to eat the beating hearts of her victims, and they all deserve it.
And I'm going to guess that it's based on the title. It's very bloody.
It's very bloody. It's sexy. It's bloody. It's fun. And we've got some brilliant music that my brother Danny Elfman and Ego Plum recorded for us.
Oh, that's great. What you're on the festival circuit now. How are people reacting to this? Because a lot of films at festivals, depending on the festival, you've been to many festivals with your films.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see movies at these festivals, you think, there's always like the social issue documentary, and those are fine. And the films that are, I would say, a little pretentious. You are, look at your movies. You are the most unpretentious person that I know.
I don't know about that.
But you have a great sense of humor about yourself and your work. But what has been the reaction to the film on the festival circuit?
Okay. I'm an entertainer at heart. I come from musical theater, the stage. And aside from everything else is I want to fucking entertain my audiences. And I've got to say, we brought the house down. This is a fun film. It's fun, it's sexy, it's gory, and we really pulled out the stops for our horror fans on this one.
Cool. Let's see. We've got people in the chat that are saying, hi, Richard, says Brock Samsonite. The Alex Zorba says, hola, Ricardo. And Fletcher Williams says, based on a true story? Bloody Bridget? It's not based on a true story, is it?
Well, yes and no. Okay, just like call it the Rastafarians in Jamaica, where they kind of expropriated the former Emperor Haile Selassie from Ethiopia and deified him in Jamaica. Well, there's a similar thing going on in Haiti, where the deity of life and death, Baron Samedi, his wife is ostensibly Saint Bridget from Ireland, who earlierly was a Celtic goddess. So in the Haitian voodoo pantheon, there's a red-haired gal named Maman Brigitte. So the film is loosely based on that, but it's tongue-in-cheek, although my Haitians in the film are actually played by Haitians, and they had a great time with it.
Let's go to some more comments and questions here from people. Imperfect says, I like it already. JTP RX, his laugh is contagious. Haha. One Punch Man Tolkien fan says, full moon behind the scenes, Forbidden Zone. Question mark.
Is that a question?
Full moon, Forbidden Zone. No, those two never met.
Oh, okay. Solomon Thornton.
Shrunken Heads for full moon ages ago.
Best advice for beginning filmmakers.
Be so passionate about what you're doing that you're not afraid of death or arrest.
Oh, okay. There you go. Death or arrest. Yeah, I love that. Just for fun, Mr. Elfman, what is your favorite musical?
God, probably Three Penny Opera from Berlin, Fiddler on the Roof, Wizard of Oz. I don't know. That's a big question.
More comments here. Lubitch touched me, says, what would be your dream project if budget wasn't an issue, and who would you cast?
Forbidden Zone 2, and I'm getting closer and closer. So it's on the way. It's ready to go. I did a big crowdfunder. It worked out well. And then we went to start the thing, and the price of this, the formula for Forbidden Zone, and this was going back to my theater troupe, the Mystic Knights, the Oingo Boingo, is we would take amazing pieces of music that were kind of forgotten and play them live for audiences, mixed with my brother's original score. So it was kind of the new and the old, but it was based on these, I call it like timeless classics. And the ones that I had picked out for Forbidden Zone 2, the price went through the roof. And we've come close to making it a few times, and God help us, we'll make it this year. Or God strike us down from lightning, maybe both.
Thank you for making authentic horror entertainment, sir, says Imperfect, who's a member. Thank you for that. Razorburn, Richard, were you ever involved with your brother's band in the past or any of his projects? Danny Elfman.
Well, I started the band, the Mystic Knights of the Oingo Boingo, that became Oingo Boingo. I've directed some of their videos. And other than that, Danny's helped me on all of my films with music. He's been a very good brother.
JTP RX says, when is this available to watch? Bloody Bridget, when can we all see it?
Well, this is not right away. Normally to raise money for an independent film, let alone something quirky, original, and different, is 10 times more work than making the film. So this one, I just said, fuck it, up the mortgage, up the credit card limits, and shot the damn thing. So I've got no partners, no deals, no nothing. So we're taking our time on the festival circuit. We're going to build up some buzz, and we want to get the right distributor that understands it, not just jump for the short money. So I can't tell you when it's going to be commercially available. I mean, we've just finished the film, and we're just starting the festival circuit. But keep your eyes on Facebook at Bloody Bridget and Instagram at Bloody Bridget Film, and you can see what cities we're going to with festivals.
We posted on the Film Threat Instagram, we posted the poster because I love movie posters. So our Film Threat Instagram, you can follow us on Film Threat on Instagram, is just tons and tons of posters, including our next guest, the poster for her film, April Mullen's Simulant. I posted that on our Instagram because I thought it was a really good poster. I just love movie poster art. I mean, you've got your art on the walls. Like, who doesn't love great movie poster art? Otio asks, favorite horror movie?
God, I don't know, like Psycho. I'm such a horror fan. I'd be here all day just listing them.
Cool. And then let's see more comments here. Nicholas Vargo says, Richard, you are a genius, sir. Any great stories about the early days of the Mystic Knights of the Oingo Boingo? The home videos from the Forbidden Zone DVD release are extraordinary.
Well, it was quite an amazing group. But again, it was taking these classics like Cab Calloway, Duke Ellington, Josephine Baker, Django Reinhardt, music that people have never heard live, and we do it well along with Danny's original music, with crazy antics on the set, and a touch of burlesque, always a touch of burlesque.
All right. And Fletcher Williams.
I should mention we did review Bloody Bridget. It's a 9.5 out of 10 from Bobby Love.
I'm sorry it didn't get a 10, Richard.
I know.
So sorry.
I know I've been flagellating myself every night thinking about it.
That halfway.
You guys do great reviews. By the way, Alan, you're an extraordinary writer, I must say.
Oh, thanks. I know we win at it with aliens, clowns, and geeks, but
yeah, you've got a way with words, sir. A way with words.
Well, but the one thing is at Film Threat, look, we try to get the appropriate writer matched with the film, right? Someone who likes horror movies might want to have that person review a horror movie. To me, that just makes sense. So sometimes when I see mainstream critics give a certain type of film a bad review, I'm thinking they just don't like that kind of movie. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's very fair, and especially not fair to independent filmmakers. You know, you should be a fan of the genre to know whether this is a standout in that genre. So we take it very seriously.
All the more reason we love Film Threat, sir. All the more reason.
Thank you for saying that, Richard. And let's see. We'll just a couple more questions here. Fletcher Williams, I Suck at Games channel, goes on to ask, what do you use to shoot and what do you use to edit and color correct?
Okay, Aliens, Clowns, and Geeks, we used red. God, I forgot which red. And the recent one, Bloody Bridget, we used Black Magic 4K, 6K. It was actually cheaper to buy, but it's great in low light. For editing, I had Andrew Cast, who's like a veteran film and television editor and a director in his own right. And, you know, you need a colorist. Ours was Jeff Jones. The guy's got about 200 IMDb credits. And by the way, Jeff colorized every single Seinfeld episode. Wow. Did a great color job for us. And the other thing is, I had an amazing special effects team. I had Kevin Kutchover, Emmy-winning effects guy, and my practical effects guy, Roy Knierim at Soda. I've been working with him for 25 years since Modern Vampires, you know, with the bloody hearts and the monsters and everything. And he's actually a director too, and he's killed me in a number of his films.
That's great. And let's see, a final question here. The Introspect M says, is everything you've done horror? If so, is there another genre you would like to do someday?
Well, I've done a couple dance documentaries. And I had my own media company for years. I've actually produced 275 red carpet interviews. You know, so I've done other things, but horror and fantasy are my favorite things. I've actually got 3 horror fantasy novels coming out. The first one, The Schlemazel of Sabrim, a Jewish vampire story, will be out this year. We're doing the audiobook right now.
Well, congrats on that. Richard, where can people find you on social media or your website for Bloody Bridget?
Okay, Facebook at Bloody Bridget, Instagram, Bloody Bridget Film.
Awesome. Richard Richard Elfman, always a pleasure to talk to you, sir. I've got to make it to one of your barbecue bacchanals at some point.
Hey, Chris. Hey, Alan. We'll see you guys. And you don't want to miss these events. And thank you, Film Threat.
Thank you, Richard. Take care. Appreciate it. Later. What a great guy.
I know.
I love Richard.
You could have brought some more energy to it. That's all.
Yeah, I wish he had more energy. I just wish he had a little bit more energy for that interview. No, he's fantastic. And now we actually have another special guest joining us.
Almost, yes.
Almost, yes. A film that is actually in theaters. It's in theaters and limited release. Someone will correct me. There is a publicist who is going to correct whatever information is coming out of my mouth at this moment. It's a I wouldn't say low budget, but it's a lo-fi sci-fi movie that stars Simu Liu. And I have questions about this film. Simulant director April Mullen, welcome to the Film Threat Livecast. Thank you for joining us today. I'm going to put you front and center. How's it going?
Great. I feel good. Thanks so much for having us and supporting Simulant.
Awesome. Well, I've always been a fan of indie movies. Just indie movies, to me, they've got more heart. They focus on character, and that's why. And I love there's been an explosion of indie sci-fi films, which is really exciting and encouraging. Tell us about Simulant.
Simulant is a journey of sort of a simulate who is activated by his widow after he dies in a car accident. And it's a husband and wife and sort of the repercussions of what involves when you reactivate a person, and the trauma of that and the excitement of that. And then we have Sam Worthington on the run and sort of hunting down simulates that have gone rogue and aren't listening to their masters anymore. And then we have Casey Simulu, who is basically unleashing and unmastering and setting simulates free to have free autonomy, and believes that we can coexist. So there's a lot going on and a lot of different perspectives, but at the end of the day, hopefully everybody is left with a lot to think about and wonder whether we could coexist in a world together.
I mean, you could compare, I don't think it's fair to compare, but it's got similar aspects to ideas that are in Blade Runner, but very different, because the way the simulants are used is to replace people.
Exactly.
To replace people that have been lost. But I have to compliment you too. Simu Liu, you got him to dye his hair blonde.
I mean, he wanted to. He was excited to have tattoos and be blonde. So it really had a great look on him, and he loved it. And he was so invested in the character and came up with sort of the end scene where he gets to meet his maker before he shuts down, which is one of my favorite scenes in the film now.
Well, I'll say this. It's like Simu Liu, he's obviously Shang-Chi. He is a Marvel character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Chris Evans played two blonde characters, Steve Rogers and Johnny Storm, and did not dye his hair blonde. So if I could say to Simu Liu, hey, this guy will go all out for a role, tattoos and dyeing his hair blonde, he deserves a compliment. So now, how did you, obviously it's not a studio film, but there are some impressive special effects. How do you juggle like the effects for an indie movie, knowing what your limitations are? But I would argue that the limitations for like an indie sci-fi film are actually a benefit from the standpoint of you can lean more into character. You can go deeper layers that way.
Definitely. There is an expectation, obviously, when you're doing a sci-fi film to deliver on that front. And what does that mean? And this is definitely a lo-fi, and I never wanted the world or the world builds or the technology to overtake the characters' journeys, because it really is a movie about universal themes and for people or simulates going through their journeys. And I never wanted to distract the audience from the thought-provoking ideas behind the film. So we kept it minimal and unique. And in some ways, the service androids I really wanted to do practically and not have them be VFX. And so we went to great extents to create full prosthetic and have sort of the human emotions and actors play the role, but be in full prosthetic, which gave them a really unique vibe. And they were designed by Nexera, which is our Apple brand of the future. And they have sort of like a hard hair, kind of like a Ken doll, and they're very gender neutral. And I just thought that was, uniquely Simulant. And you have to come up with really creative ways when you're working with such a tight budget and you're expected to deliver so huge of a, concept. And you want to make sure you get the most bang for your buck, so to speak, on screen, and really keep people happy, be innovative, and be smart with what you have, which is not a lot nowadays with indie cinema. You're really competing against Marvel and remakes. And, we're so excited to be on screens across the country June 2nd, but it's really competitive. It's competitive, and you have to be smart with very little.
So what
are the challenges of getting an indie sci-fi greenlit, get it off the ground?
It's impossible. I mean, to be honest, I read the script 8 years ago. So just to give you a spectrum of like our journey, 8 years ago, it was a really refreshing idea, and it was pushing a lot of boundaries. This was before Ex Machina, and I thought it was so innovative, and I couldn't believe what happened at the end of the script. And it really brought about a lot of emotion and like arguments between people. And I loved that it sort of allowed you to go through different journeys and fight for Simulant and also fight for humanity, and why, and can we coexist, and what are these prejudices with love and machine, and why does that exist, and can we just be peaceful and allow people their own space to have relationships with whoever they want, whether that be AI or not. I just loved all of those themes. And 8 years ago it was like very not sort of in the ether of film particular. And now I feel like it's very current, and with ChatGPT sort of just chasing down our tails, and available publicly, and reading poetry and photography and artwork is not out of the question. I feel like it's more current than ever before, but it was a long journey to get the film made as an independent sort of sci-fi. It is still a big budget, but it's, relative, because comparing it to Blade Runner, like you said, is just like they're worlds apart in terms of finances. Really, really worlds apart. And Sam Worthington's in the film, and he would often talk about James Cameron and his process and how similar it is. And I was like, but he does have a lot more money. But which Sam brought a really unique point of view. He kept saying, but for him, it's never enough either. Like, he's always having to come up with innovative, strange, unique ways to shoot and to film and to get his concepts across. And he's always trying to break boundaries and can't afford what he wants to do either. And I thought, that's interesting. That's really interesting. So maybe we'll never have enough, but you're always aiming for more. But it allows you to be innovative and create really unique content.
I just want to point out the movie is in theaters June 2nd. June 2nd in theaters.
Well, it's on DirecTV at the moment.
It is? No, it's not.
Well, the pay-per-view.
It's a little tiny window on DirecTV, but then June 2nd, you can see it on the big screen and you can see it on demand. It'll be everywhere June 2nd.
On demand. Okay, great. Let's go to, we've got over 300 people watching live, and we've got a lot of comments and questions.
I love that.
Okay, so let's if you have time, let's go through these. John Odom says Simulant green is people.
Ooh.
And JTP RX says Sam Worthington is great. I've always liked him.
He's phenomenal in the film, and he is an amazing guy. I mean, he would be messaging me at 5 a.m. about his character and bringing his own props to set, and it's him crawling through the snow. He wanted to do all his own stunts. He was throwing himself downstairs. I mean, he's really committed and amazing artist to work with. I can't wait to work with him again.
Jason Rosenberger says, are the simulants biological or technical?
Ooh, a bit of both.
Okay.
To be honest, a bit of both.
The trailer is on YouTube. The Nerd Far Away says, okay, this sounds very interesting. I want to see it. Love stuff that makes me think. And Retro Nerd Girl says 8 years. Wow.
I know. That's what happens in the indie filmmaking. They never tell you how long it takes. You have to be really passionate to make it count. It's a long haul for sure. I've been making movies for 20 years.
And then the Nerd Far Away asks, for funsies, question for April, do you ever pick an actor and watch all their work? If so, who have you picked? Who would you pick?
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, when I'm sort of, before I have my final rounds of who I'm going to cast, I definitely familiarize myself with their work and what they've done, current and also previous, and sort of just do my homework always, just to make sure it can all fit. But I try really to be open-minded. I mean, back in the day, I was an actor and I always thought, ooh, typecasting always bothered me. So with Jordana Brewster, she came to the table and everyone's like, Fast and the Furious, this and that. That does not really give me a great example of what she can pull off in Simulant. Simulant is deep. She's going through grief, a tragedy with her husband, and she's being sort of questioning all of her, her mortality and whether she wants to continue with this simulator or not. And it's just a very deep, deep, deep character. And I thought she did such an amazing job. So sometimes previous work doesn't really help. And I like to just interview the character or the actor one-on-one and just sort of talk to them as a human being and say, what piques your interest about the character and what would be your goal and focus, and why are you drawn to the character and to the material? And when I met Jordana, she had gone through something where she had an injury and a trauma in her brain and lost pieces, and then she lost pieces of her memory. And she found that so bizarre and scary and unique. And she was very interested with the fact that you could download memories into the mind of a simulant and then recreate that same person. And she just found that fascinating. So there was a real personal through line with her, and that resonated with her and the character. And I thought that was so beautiful. And she came to set every day with so much truth behind that because of that very reason, because of that personal experience. And I just think always give actors benefit of the doubt and try to break the cast of like the typical sort of stereotypical casting that they always sort of get typecast into.
Question from Brock Samsonite. What was the budget and what level of CGI can we expect to see? Well, you can see the trailer on YouTube right now, but usually you give a broad number for a budget, especially when it comes to an indie film. you don't want to be too revealing.
No, we can't, because we're fighting for every little dollar that we put on screen. We're really scrimmaging for. And if we told you, then everybody would be like, oh, everybody can make things for this level, but they don't see us breaking our back, really hanging on, relationships. And we shot the film in Hamilton, and I really wanted the vibe to feel gritty and human and feel like the streets of today, and not alienate the audience so far into the future that they wouldn't recognize the world as we know it in 2023. I wanted it to feel like simulants were amongst us this day and age. And I never wanted the CGI to take over, so to speak. I never wanted the world to feel so big and so different than ours that it would take or distract from the characters and what was actually going through the characters' minds, which I think at the end of the day, Simulant really is a think piece and gives you 4 very different perspectives on love in a weird way. And at the end of the day, I think it makes you question so many things, because it really turns the table at the end, and there's a really big surprise ending and nobody sees it coming. And I love that about the film, and it makes you question why you were rooting for who you were rooting for, and was it right or wrong. And there's no real black and white, red, purple answer. It's all very gray and very unique to the person and very unique to the audience member. And I feel like it'll cause a lot of discussion with friends and family once you watch it and see it together. It's really fun to say, hey, would you bring back a loved one? Would you create a simulated of yourself? Like, I think it's just a lot of really unique concepts that I think we need to think about now, because it might not be too far away.
Question here from Razorburn. April, what was the inspiration to get into science fiction when growing up? Was it authors like Robert Heinlein or Frank Herbert, or sci-fi movies from the past? I guess asking your inspirations.
I mean, I'm inspired by everything. Mostly I'm inspired by life itself. Like, I'm a really big observer, and I was, creating things with the childhood park. I would bring like all the kids when I was 8 years old from all over the neighborhood, and I'd put them in a play, and I'd make up the play and put some music on and play La Bamba, and I'd give them costumes and make the costumes. So I was really always pulling from imagination and from my mind. And I think that all came from what was around me. So, even the simple details in life where you see somebody bend over and tie a shoe for an elderly person or a stranger. I really love life, and those little mini moments impact me in a large way, and usually end up creating or finding their way into a frame of a film that I'm making, and through personal journeys, so that I can share my truth and share something truthful rather than pull from something that I don't understand. I try to really pull from things I care about or have felt in some way, shape, or form.
I know you've got to leave, so I just want to say thank you, April, for being on the show today on the Film Threat Livecast. Simulant is in theaters June 2nd. It opens in theaters and available on on-demand pay-per-view. Check it out. April, thank you for being on the show today. It's a total pleasure. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for also posting the poster and being a fan of indie cinema and helping support artists like us and make sure these movies are seen. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Have a great rest of your day. I know you've got other interviews, so thank you so much.
Thank
All right,
you.
take care. Bye now. That was great. She was awesome. She was awesome. Love it. That's great.
I was gonna say on Rumble, LA Scribe saw it.
Oh, good.
Jordana did well. Not so much Sam, but great job, great ending.
I love Simu Liu he hasn't found the right part yet, I think.
Well, Kim's Convenience.
He was great in that. I watched that, and I like that he dyed his hair and kind of went all in on the character.
Yeah.
So that was good. That's gonna wrap it up for us today. Longer show than usual. There's a little mix up with the I had them scheduled at like 10:45 and 11, and whatever, stuff happens. But I want to thank you for hanging with us today on a Friday. Fast X is out. It's dumb fun. That's all I'm going to say on that.
It's dumb, yes.
Yeah, Alan says it's dumb. I say it's dumb fun. But I want to thank you all for spending your Friday with us. 3 shows next week, which is going to be a blast. Alan, what do you have coming up this weekend?
Let's see. Oh yeah, I'll be in San Diego at the National Comedy Theater at 7:30 on Saturday, and before that, my daughter and I are driving to Hollywood to see The Little Mermaid.
And I am not gonna go see The Little Mermaid
Oh, you're
because
not.
I'm just gonna see it when it comes out. I'm gonna see it with a paying crowd. So there you go. But you'll be able to tell us about it next week.
Yeah,
You'll
absolutely.
tell us about it. That's great. And I am going to if you live in the LA area, there is a music festival this weekend called Cruel World. I am going to Cruel World. So if you see a guy with this hair, it's probably me. But I'm
Or it's
probably
Will
not.
Force.
I'm probably not going to be the only person with this kind of hair there, because Cruel World is like an 80s band. There's like the bands there. It's just crazy. Iggy Pop is going to be there, Susie and the Banshees, and no one knows these bands unless you live through the 80s. But I know these bands.
Yes.
So
I can't wait to see all these middle-aged women just kind of gushing over the bands. And
yeah. And then, of course, get ready next week. Critics Court returns. It's coming back, and it's coming back with a vengeance. Critics Court. How about this? Caption this. Can you caption this?
yes, you mean?
Yeah, I'm just asking everyone. You know what?
Yeah.
I'll post this. I'm going to post this on the community tab. Caption this. Okay? There you go.
Yeah. I think
It's a
she's saying,
photo.
thank you, Robert and Paul, for your support.
It's a drawing of Kathleen Kennedy. All right, that wraps it up for us. I'll be at the Cruel World Music Festival in Pasadena at the Rose Bowl this weekend. Lon McKay says should be full of cougars. Well, there you are, for sure. Definitely. But thank you again. Thank you to our mods, Lord Thoth, and I don't have the caption with our other mods. Thank you to Ms. P. Coffee as well, waiting in the wings, keeping us honest, keeping the show going, and Glenn Brown, our intrepid producer, with cutting these crazy videos together for us. Alan, take us out.
Let's get out of here.